Hey everyone, today we're talking about Ezoic. If you followed the channel, you know a few weeks ago I went ahead and applied with my Adsense case study site to Ezoic. I felt like I had enough traffic to make it worthwhile and to get the site approved. I had 10,000 page views a month and close to 9,000 sessions a month, and I thought that that would be a good time to move over to Ezoic to try to start, get better at earning with the site, because even though traffic was increasing on the site month on month, the earnings, the Adsense earnings, from the units that I had installed on the site were not progressing at the same level. It just wasn't going up. Traffic was going up, but ad revenue was staying pretty stable. So I thought, okay, it's time. I need to figure out where on the site is the best place to put ads and also what kinds of ads are the best ones. So I went ahead and applied with the site for Ezoic, and I didn't know what I was getting into. Honestly, people talk about Ezoic and they talk about the earnings, and either they think it's great or they think it's awful, but we don't hear necessarily a lot about what the experience was like. And what I have found was that it wasn't necessarily the easiest experience or the simplest experience, and a lot of people have that experience as well, but not a lot of people are talking about it. So here's the teleprompter today. So if I look down, I'm checking my very expensive teleprompter that I invested in since my last video. One, technical issues. Apparently technical issues are fairly common when you're getting set up on Ezoic, and they're just surprising, right? When you install ad units from Google AdSense on your site, usually the technical issues that you might have are just, we're not seeing ads and the ad unit isn't showing up, or, there's a white space where there's an ad supposed to be. It's not necessarily about your site breaking or other things on your site going sideways or just not working the way that they were supposed to. I had two issues with the site that I found fairly annoying. One was that the photo images all over the site, in my plugins, inline in the articles, anything that had an image would inconsistently just show up broken, right? Would leave you with the little icon that had the little fracture through the middle. And also the site, whenever I would go to it to work on it, it would give me the captcha page because it would identify me as a bot and potentially there for malicious purposes. And even when I was in the backend in the admin section, I couldn't navigate around my site. I couldn't get into the various posts, and I found myself super annoyed, and I didn't understand why this was happening. So what I did when I initially got set up is I integrated with Ezoic using plugin, which was really simple to do and easy. And when I did that, I didn't notice any technical issues on the site. Now, I have talked with some other folks who said that they had technical issues when they used the plugin, but when Ezoic recommended that they integrate using their name servers, you go to your domain and point the name servers at Ezoic. But people found that the technical issues that they were experiencing using the app or the plugin were alleviated when they switched to the name servers. And I had the opposite experience, right? I had no technical issues with the site when I was using the plugin, but when I turned the name servers over to Ezoic, that's when things for the images and for the captcha started going sideways. In talking with support, and I will have to say that Ezoic support was totally thumbs up. The only time I felt annoyance was that they take weekends off. There wasn't the person who was assigned to me, because I had my own dedicated support manager, ads manager. That person went home on Saturday and Sunday. It didn't work and didn't answer email, and I was at my computer working, and she wasn't. But it's not the end of the world. Weekends are weekends, and that exists. That's just something you should know, that if you need help on a Saturday, your ads manager might not be available to get back to you until Monday. Although I suspect that if I had contacted Ezoic and said, hey, I need somebody to fix this thing right away, and this person isn't available, they would have found somebody to help me. Anyway, I digress. So I pointed the name servers, and then that is when I started seeing the broken images and the captcha issue. I've seen a lot of people complaining about cache issues and about Cloudflare issues. It is likely that the images situation was the result of some conflict between Ezoic's caching extra capability and the own caching setup on my own site. I don't have an extra cache plugin. I just use whatever it is that my host sets up for me. For this particular site, I'm using SiteGround, and SiteGround has caching set up for me, and I've never gone and gotten a separate plugin. I raised this to the attention of my support manager person, and I don't honestly know what she did or how she did it, but that is no longer a problem on the site. To resolve the captcha situation, I had to go to SiteGround and actually ask them to turn off that function. Really quick, I wanted to share with you what SiteGround said was the problem, and here's the note I got from them. It says, Amelia, it appears that the anti-bot captcha is being triggered by the Ezoic access. This is a server-based anti-bot protection, which protects our clients from malicious bots that are usually there to brute force your login or contact forms. It appears that the captcha is mistaking the Ezoic access as a malicious bot. They cannot whitelist Ezoic, and that was one of the proposed solutions from my support person. She gave me basically every IP address that Ezoic was using. It was this giant list, and they wanted SiteGround to whitelist all of those IP addresses to avoid the triggering, and basically SiteGround said, no, we can't do that, or we're not going to do that. To resolve it, they offered to disable the captcha, which I went ahead and did. And now everything seems to be working fairly well on the site. I think one thing that people don't realize is how long it can take from beginning to end to get Ezoic running on your site. I already had an Ezoic account, and so I didn't necessarily have to apply with my site and wait for a decision on whether or not I could have an account with that site. But when I did add my site, it took me about a week to 10 days of waiting before I reached out to Ezoic for help. When I reached out to them, they went ahead and did the review quickly to get my site approved. And it was then that I got my dedicated manager who went to work to help me get my ads up on the site. And it was at that point when the Ezoic backend was turned on that we discovered the technical issues. And with the weekend, that took 4 to 5 days to get resolved. But at this point now, Ezoic is turned on, and when I go to my site, I can see that the ad tester is working and placing all kinds of different combinations of ads on the site. All in all, I would say this took me between 3 and 4 weeks to get set up from beginning to end. And since I don't have anything to compare this to, I don't know if that is a usual timeline for people from beginning to end. But the reason this matters is you may be left several weeks where your site is not earning. And if you have a high earning site that you are transitioning fully over to Ezoic, it may be really hard for you to forego those earnings during that time. For me, during the transition period, I went ahead and left the Adsense ads on my site continue to run, and they are able to do something in the Ezoic backend to continue to run the Adsense ads even though Ezoic is turned on. So I'm continuing to earn with my Adsense account on that separate platform, but also I'm starting to earn with Ezoic. Now, one thing you should know when you have Ezoic turned on is that when you go to your site, and this was a surprise to me, when you go to your site, you will see ads everywhere, right? You'll see ads in the header, and then in the footer, and then there's the banner that's sticky, and then you'll see ads on the sidebar that are stacked up, and then you will see tons and tons of ads inline in the article. Now you have to know that this is not what your average user will see, and this was something that I got from Ezoic, and I was glad that they told me this. And I'm just going to look down really quick, but it says, because you are someone that goes to your site and you stay on the site no matter what, because most likely you're working on the site, right? You're looking at the articles, or you're doing something with images, and you don't bounce away. The system, the Ezoic system, they classify you as a, I put up my air quotes, user who likes max ads. So what they'll do whenever you are on your site, because they recognize who you are and either your IP address or information about you, you'll see essentially an ad in every single placeholder that is possible on the site. This is not the experience that your average user should have, unless they're somebody who goes to the site and stays there no matter what, no matter how many ads are served to them. Now, how long does it take you to get to a point where you're maybe making the max amount of money that you could with Ezoic? They ask you to set aside up to 12 weeks to allow the system to really work on optimizing. In fact, it may take you between 6 and 8 weeks really to get to a point where you're earning anything significant because of the ad testing. And this can really be a tough pill to swallow for higher earner sites that are coming to Ezoic and aren't prepared to forego those previous earnings that they were getting for the 8 to 12 weeks that it might take to get it to a place where it's earning really well. I will say that within Ezoic there is a pretty good community forum. I think this is a valuable place to spend time because users are regularly posting questions, and then the Ezoic support staff are in there answering questions and also just providing helpful information to people. A lot of people post screenshots, and for someone who is a new user to go in and see examples of what sort of data people are looking at and having access to, it's really helpful. So all in all, as of today, I am up and running on Ezoic, and I've started earning a small amount. Yesterday was the first day that I earned anything, and yesterday was December 10th. So today is December 11th. I'm not sure when this video is going to get posted, but I will try to check back in about a month and let you all know, or I'll just let you know in the next update video for the AdSense site, just overall, how the experience has been going and whether or not I would recommend that people get started with Ezoic. So before you go, if you are out there watching this video and you're part of this community, if you are already on Ezoic, would you mind going down into the comments below and sharing what your experience was getting started? I would love to know if my experience getting on board was similar to yours or how yours was different. Also, if you were previously using Ezoic and decided to quit, I would love to know more about that and why, and I'm sure other people would enjoy knowing that too. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and we'll see you in the next one.